So starting the test drive in this Corolla Cross here, the pickup is surprisingly good. And I feel like that's one of the reasons that you see the upgraded 2-liter in the Nissan Kicks, which I think is the most direct competitor with this car particularly. And you can see it kind of with the Versa, how the Versa does have more of a Corolla feel to it, and the Kicks is basically an upgraded Versa. You have the same thing with the Corolla and the Corolla Cross. So really liking how Toyota equipped this vehicle with the 2-liter 4-cylinder. Now there's some kind of barcode sticker or whatever that's flapping, so I apologize if that's coming through the mic. But it's really the only sound I'm hearing out of the ordinary with this vehicle, so nothing that the car is actually doing itself. But the ride is surprisingly composed as I come down this stretch of road here, where certain vehicles take it a bit rough. Now the overall feel from the driver's seat is really nice. I'm able to reach everything relatively easily. Of course, I have a pretty big wingspan, but even shorter people with shorter arms, shorter legs won't have issue driving this. And what's crazy is, even with the moonroof, my headroom is very good. The seat is just wide enough to fit my wider stature. If I were any wider, I'd be sleeping over the sides, but still impressive for me to be in this kind of vehicle and still be able to fit completely on the seat. And overall, the sound acoustics in here are really good as well. Even though it's a smaller vehicle, it's not a Tahoe, it's not a Sequoia, you're not expecting to have a very plush ride coming down the road. It's pretty solid in terms of the ride quality and the sound acoustics, even on this rougher patch of road that a lot of 18-wheelers drive on a regular basis. Like the view of the gauge cluster, you have your typical more, I guess, analog gauges for the engine temperature and the fuel meter, but everything being digital in the middle is really nice. And I like that you have the speedometer right there in the middle, but you still have the tachometer on the ring around the outside. I think that was pretty tasteful. Now for the drive modes, since you don't have a selector of sorts, basically your throttle response is what determines whether you're in eco mode or a normal mode. And then if you go into the manual mode where you get those simulated shifts with the CVT, you're able to use that as well. Let's give it a try here. Here we go. So I find it to be relatively quick. So to put this into the actual driving support system that you have available here, you have to go adaptive cruise, hit this button here, and then it'll show you that the adaptive cruise mode is active. Now in terms of the safety system you get here, you do get the lane centering as well as the adaptive cruise control. It's just a weird setup here as opposed to the other Toyotas. You have to actually put the driving support on, and then you have the lane centering as well. So you have to actually click each of those to make sure everything is on so that it'll work properly, if that makes sense. And I've had issues with this in a lot of the newer Toyotas, like the 24s, I think, 25s, maybe even some of the 23s, where they put this new driving support button for the Safety Sense 3.0. Once you get used to it, it makes a lot of sense, because you can actually drive with just the adaptive cruise on without having to have the full suite going and having to adjust everything in the instrument cluster to get it the way you want. You can just do adaptive or normal, and then you can just turn the lane centering on or off. So makes a lot of sense. Now I want to give a big thanks to John Roberts Toyota one more time for allowing me to review this Corolla Cross today. I'll leave a link below in the description. And if you're looking to find the best price on one of these closer to home, click on that second link down below. It takes a minute to fill out your information, and I'll make sure the local dealers are fighting to get you the best price on whatever new vehicle you might be interested in. But as I've gotten to know the Corolla Cross over this test drive, it really is a good deal for what you get. You have your lane centering, you have your adaptive cruise control, you have the sunroof, the JBL system, blind spot monitors, heated seats, the dual zone climate controls, and then you even have things like the power seat for the driver. And then even though the infotainment system is just a tad dated for what it is, it still has nice colors and is easy to use, very easy to use. And honestly, the 4-cylinder with the CVT is relatively quick for the segment. It feels about as fast as the Trax, maybe even a bit quicker than the Kicks. And I actually like that it's not screaming at you under harsh throttle like the Trax and the outgoing Kicks that have the 1.6 liter in it. But with all that being said, this will bring me to the end of my review of this 2025 Toyota Corolla Cross XLE with all-wheel drive.